We have a lot of stuff to talk about in that new episode of Europeans Watching American Racing. My name is André Wiegold, this is Gianluca Guiglia, and that's the introduction. We really need to go through all the topics. We had NASCAR at Atlanta, we had the 12 hours of Sebring, and we had IndyCar racing at the Texas Motor Speedway. And we start, Gian, with the NASCAR Cup Series, with the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and the Camping World Truck Series at the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's faster. It has new asphalt, it's narrower, and we have more banking. And we saw crazy stuff. Let's go through the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race.
Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Man, first, can you explain me why the double line at the bottom of the banking is white and not yellow?
It's not a super speedway.
Or is it?
Or
Oh, man. Truck Series Racing, 135 laps of, to me, super speedway racing. Because that was it.
we called it, we broadcasted the NASCAR Cup Series live in Germany, and I was one of the commentators, and I said it's a super speedway racing light.
Yeah. Basically, instead of a constant 3 wide, I saw a constant 2 wide. But all the characteristics of super speedway racing are there. Pack racing, to overtake you have to use hair and opportunity and pit stops. It's super speedway to me. So very quickly, first stage, mostly we saw problems early for Matt Benedetto and Ailey Deegan, single file for most of the stage, and then Ailey Deegan's tire caught fire, literally. Man, was scary. Stage 1, Stuart Friesen, Grant Enfinger, Derek Krause, Christian Eckes, Matt Crafton, Tanner Gray, Chandler Smith, Ross Chastain, Jonathan Nemechek, Tyler Ankrum.
Yeah. It was surprising. When we start, we didn't know what to expect when the NASCAR series went back to that new Atlanta. We said it. New banking, 24 to 28 degrees. New asphalt, no more asphalt that is almost old as me. And we also had the narrower track. We saw 2 wide, no problem, of course. We saw 3 wide. Oh man, you have to be very courage there. And 4 wide, nope. Not possible.
No.
Not possible. That's it. And
Yes.
what we saw in the truck race really got me interested. Man, will we see that in the Xfinity race too? And what about the Cup race? It was so interesting to see super speedway style racing at a 1.5 mile track. And I think what NASCAR wanted to do, they did it. They really, really did it. And we saw that in that first stage of the truck race. In the second stage, we had Jonathan Nemechek taking the 10 bonus points for Kyle Busch Motorsports ahead of Ty Majeski, Chandler Smith, Christian Eckes, Tyler Ankrum, Matt Crafton, Dean Thompson, Tanner Gray, Carson Hocevar, and Ryan Preece. And then in the last stage, we had a kind of surprise winner this time at the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race.
Yep, it was. I think the finish was quite what you expected. Long single line, everybody waiting to make their move, but at some point, Chandler Smith was leading Corey Haim, and they caught up with a lapped car, and it was their teammate John Hunter Nemechek. So they lined up 3 Kyle Busch Motorsport cars at the front of the single line, trying to protect the lead. What happened? Well, when Corey Haim made a move on his teammate Chandler Smith at the finish, well, John Hunter Nemechek had to choose. Who do I go with? And he chose Corey Haim.
Yeah.
First win, 19 years old, first career win, and definitely a success story for Kyle Busch Motorsport. But man, are they happy with each other?
I don't really know. But it's interesting because when I saw Corey Haim winning, I was asking myself, who's that guy? Who's that guy? He won his home race. He's from Georgia. He's from Marietta. He's 19 years of age, and he's a part-time driver in that private Kyle Busch car. Let's say it like this. It's Kyle's car. And then I asked myself, where is he coming from? And he has a typical NASCAR career. He went to Legend Cars, super late models, then into the R-Car Series. And last year he was battling in the R-Car Series for the championship win. He ended up second after winning tons of races, but he was beaten by, and this is a little bit of a spoiler for the next topic, Ty Gibbs.
Aha!
Those were the
Yeah.
guys racing for the championship in the R-Car Series. Of course, the R-Car Series, we have to be very careful there. There's only
Yeah.
a handful drivers doing all races. So it's
Yeah.
it's it's interesting to see those races. They're amazing tracks like the Berlin Raceway,
Mhm.
without any walls at some point of the track and stuff like this. But in the end, it's not that competitive because you only have 5, 6, or 7 drivers doing really all races. So being at front when you do all the races is easy, but winning tons of races is something very different. So this guy is there, part-time driver. He did not had so many truck races in his life. I think 5. It was his 5th race, and now he's there winning. Of course, and this is my opinion. It's a super speedway race. It was a super speedway race. So in the end, he didn't win a 1.5 mile race. He won a super speedway race. So there's that factor that anyone can win there on that kind of
Yeah.
tracks or that kind of racing. But in the end, he showed and he proved to have the skills to make the right decisions, to
Mm.
keep up with the front runners in such a race, in an environment that nobody knew what's going to happen, and he made that move in the end, and he won, and he did an amazing job. So I'm very curious to see if we see Corey Haim next year as a full-time driver. That is the first thing. He won a race, so people get him on the radar now. And if he can confirm that on a different type of track.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the running order at the end, well, Chandler Smith is the guy who really had the bad end in this because he was overtaken also by Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski, who finished second and third. Chandler Smith was fourth, Zane Smith fifth, then Stuart Friesen, Ryan Preece, Tanner Gray, Derek Kraus, Austin Wenself to close the top 10. Um, in the end, the points you have Ben Rhodes, you have Chandler Smith leading the points with 1 race win and 132 points ahead of Tanner Gray, Ty Majeski, Stuart Friesen, Ben Rhodes to close the top 5. There's one driver outside the the top positions with a race win, and that's Corey Haim.
And he's not a full-time driver, so no playoff locked there.
Exactly. So as usual, the truck series will be very interesting for the playoff battle.
And it's normally normal to see the Kyle Busch private car not in the playoffs because
Yeah,
it's a part-time ride for
part-time drive.
different drivers. Yes, I think
Mhm.
that really sums up the truck series race very very quickly because we have so much stuff to talk about. Let's go to the
Yeah,
Xfinity race, right?
I have a question,
Yeah,
but I have a question for you, man. Did you like the choose rule on a super speedway?
yeah. It's easy. I like to choose roll on all speedways. I do it even on a road course. I don't care.
For those who know, give us Cone Guy back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And now, please, everybody, go into the EuroNASCAR channel and search for Cone Guy.
Cone Guy.
2016 Tour Speedway in a parking lot in France, oval racing. Yes, it's even possible in a parking lot.
Xfinity Series, man.
Yeah, Xfinity. Man, I love the parking lot. So that is not. But I think it's interesting for people that don't know that there's parking lot oval racing in Europe. So take a look at that. Even with
Take a look at
banking,
it.
with banking.
And we guarantee you will love Kongai. Absolutely love him, and you will want him in the US as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. The Xfinity race. Yeah, I was interested. Is this going to be the same stuff as in the truck race? And it was
it
super
was.
speedway style racing, and we had a guy that we know from EuroNASCAR. Perfect transition there. who was in the
Hmm.
race. Loris Hesemans driving for RSS Racing in a Toyota, but he was caught in a accident very early in the race and he went out, right?
Yeah, and I also read from our friend Vincent Bruins that Loris had gearbox issues early. So in the end, he finished where? Finished very down the order, 36th. But the point was to take part in that race and get his license approved to
Yeah.
race in Cup in the Cup Series on bigger tracks. And spoiler alert, we do it now or later.
Uh,
We do it now.
yeah. Do
Yes,
it.
Loris Sesemans is in the entry list for the NASCAR Cup Series race at COTA this weekend. So he will make his debut on a road course driving the 27 Team Sebring Ford Mustang. We're really looking forward to seeing what he can do there in the Cup Series, and he will be the second Euro NASCAR driver, Euro NASCAR champion to debut in the Cup Series after Alon Day did it at Sonoma in 2016. Back to the Xfinity Series, man.
Yes. Let's go through the race. Stage one, Josh Berry won ahead of Noah Gregson, Justin Allgaier, Sam Mayer, and Trevor Bayne. We saw the typical race we had in the track series race.
Yes.
Too wide stuff. People choosing different lines, looking for track position, and we had that super speedway strategy games all over the place. The lower line worked very well, then the outer line worked better, and people were searching for partners for the drafting and bumping and stuff like this. So it was a typical super speedway race, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cool to see, especially Justin Allgaier made some cool moves in the middle of 2-3 wide maneuvers. JR Motorsport was in great shape as always on super speedways. They at some point they had the top four cars in stage one, and Noah Gregson led all the laps of the stage except the last one.
Yes, exactly. And in this race, and I think it was in stage two, but I'm not 100% sure, we saw that four wide racing is not possible. It's not possible at Atlanta.
Yeah, yeah, and we owe it to, well, uh, the guy you expect to try a four wide at Atlanta, Noah Gregson, of course. He took, well, he tried to make a three wide on the outside. It quickly became a four wide, and he ended up in the wall.
Yeah.
But he was still competitive after that. He had to pit in green and went one lap down, but then he recovered and he still was competitive later in the race. I saw a very strong Sage Karam
Yep.
in the 44 car,
Definitely.
transitioning from IndyCar racing. Very good, right?
Yes, and we saw that super speedway racing is a team sport. You
Yes.
have to be together with the guys you know how to work with. We saw it in stage one: Junior Motorsports ahead of Junior Motorsports ahead of Junior Motorsports ahead of Junior Motorsports. Four
Yes.
guys, and in the second stage, Adrian Allmendinger won the stage ahead of his teammate Daniel Hamrick. Then we had Big Machine Racing team with Jade Buford, and then two Alpha Prime Racing cars with Tommy Joe Martins and Sage Karam.
Yeah. On the restart, Noah Gregson got the wave around and returned to the lead lap. But there was an interesting problem at some point. The sun was setting, and so they had the sun in their eyes, and Ty Gibbs had trouble in pit road, and the number 11 car, who's driving it? That Oh yes, sorry, Daniel Emmerich got a penalty because he went over the choose mark on the track due to
Yeah.
the sun glare. Well, it's the first time I see that.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, the sun was a problem there, but we have those races where we went from day to night and the sun is setting and stuff like this. So Yeah, maybe we saw something in the Cup Series race when we were commentating it. A fan and sent us a message, and I was asking why Brad Keselowski had something on his windshield, and there was a white stripe on the windshield. So we think that was something to help to optimize the visibility in a car. So maybe he learned from that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally possible. And did you see in the middle of the stage a white Oller completely destroyed against a bridge?
Have you seen? No, no, no. I have a question. I have a question.
Yes, tell me,
In the
man.
Truck Series race and in the Xfinity Series race, have you seen a bump in the new asphalt?
I kind of noticed that.
Yeah,
It
but I
looks
think
like
in the Cup Series race it was way stronger. Do you think that it's exactly the place where the truck hit the tunnel?
that's possible. Oh yes, but guys, we said that Loris Ezeman's weekend didn't go exactly well. Yeah, guess whose Oller was the one who crashed into the bridge. Ouch.
Ah,
Rowan Brothers Racing. Ah. Yeah. Well, it's a first. That's the first time for me to see that as well.
yeah,
It was very. It was quite. Well, I wouldn't like to be the truck driver there.
I stay with the bump. The guy
Yeah.
who was resurfacing the track had one job, and he made the Atlanta Memorial bump there. I think that was the idea. Okay, that was a bumpy track. We add one bump to remind the
Keep it.
people how it was.
Yes. Keep it
I don't know why there's a bump. Really, you resurface the whole track and there's a bump.
completely.
Why?
I think well, but probably because the I no. Don't try to explain it.
No, no, no,
There's a
no, no, no,
bump.
no, no.
I like it.
I just make jokes and that's it because I cannot explain that. What we can explain in stage 3, that super speedway light racing on a 1.5 mile oval produces big ones.
Yeah.
What do we have? 10 cars, 12 cars, something like this involved the 1, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 16, 18, 27, 36, 44, 45, 54, 99. I just wanted to go through that because in the truck race we didn't have that classic big one, but that was the one. And then we knew
Yeah.
in Atlanta it's not the point of having one, it's only the point of when
Yeah.
when it's happening,
And
yes.
and how many?
Yeah.
And how many? Yes.
And
Big one
then
with 11 to go again.
yeah. And then
Uh,
this amazing final move by the race winner, Ty Gibbs. Have you
man,
seen that move?
yes.
But
That
damn,
was
this guy is so good.
overtime number 2, by the way. Because the first one didn't go very well. A crash between Tommy Joe Martins, Jesse Vuji, and Mills sent the race in second overtime. And man, Ty Gibbs proved he's a killer.
Yeah.
He first pushed Sig to the front, and then left him a little gap, and then snuck up on his inside in turn 1 and took the lead.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant, just brilliant.
And that was his 6th career win. And he drove so far 23 races in the Xfinity.
Wait, what?
6 career
Out
win
of 24.
out of 23.
23, so it's more than 25%.
Yes.
My goodness.
This guy is so incredibly fast. He's 19 years old. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina, so he has NASCAR in his veins, in his blood, and he's a grandson of Joe Gibbs. So we're definitely going to see this kid in a Gibbs car in the Cup Series soon. I think we have to take a look who's retiring first, Martin Truex Jr. or Denny Hamlin. And if not, Kurt Busch maybe, and then he goes to a satellite team like 2311 Racing, something like this. But this guy is going to be a Cup Series driver very soon in a Joe Gibbs racing car, and I think he's going to have the same impact like a Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott needed some time to win his first race. It took some time. That's okay, but I think Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, even William Byron, those are the guys who left a mark when they went into the Cup Series, and I think Ty Gibbs can be at that level when he's coming there, because he has what you said. He has the killer instinct. He goes for the gap that is 1 centimeter big at the front and 1 centimeter big at the back. The spotter did an amazing job too, and that he is one of those guys we have to take a look at. Take a look at his 2021 IndyCar Series Championship win against Corey Haim. He ended up inside the top 5 in 19 of 20 races. Just one race, and that was Talladega, where he was 27th, and he won half of the season, 10 of 20 races.
What can you say? Guys, if you want to watch one thing from the Atlanta weekend, it's this move. Yeah. Don't watch the crashes. Don't watch the big ones. Don't watch this move. This move.
Definitely.
This is talent. Pure talent. You know, when you watched Kyle Larson drive the first time, that's the kind of move.
Yeah.
You watch him and you say from very far away, from an ocean away, you can see talent.
Yeah. Definitely. Second season win for Ty Gibbs, so he's definitely locked into the playoffs. And he's 100% one of those guys battling for the championship.
And by the way, he was the first. I think he is the first repeat winner of the whole NASCAR season.
Yes, I think so. Yes, you're totally right. Yes,
we were on a good streak of different winners. Thank you, Ty Gibbs.
Very important, by the way. Yes, he's the grandson of the former Washington Redskins head coach in the NFL, Joe Gibbs, of course. But he's not the son of J.D. Gibbs, who, tragically passed away.
Yeah.
He's it's the brother of J.D., who's the father of Ty Gibbs. Just for you to know who's the guy, where is he coming from. He has the right name. That makes it very easy for him, I guess. But he has also the talent. You cannot go there just by name.
Yeah, exactly. Final running order of the race: Ty Gibbs, Austin Hill, AJ Allmendinger, Riley Herbst, Landon Cassill, Mason Massey, Brandon Jones, Kyle Weatherman, Sheldon Creed, Ryan Sieg to close the top 10. Point standings: Noah Gragson on top, ahead of Ty Gibbs, 19 points separating them. AJ Allmendinger at 19 points behind Gragson as well. Justin Allgaier, Josh Berry, Brandon Jones, Daniel Emmerich, Austin Hill, Riley Herbst, Ryan Sieg again to close the top 10. We're still at the beginning of this season. There's very much more to come.
Tell us the overall standings.
Yeah, that was that.
That was it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was shutting down a little bit because this weekend was so exhausting. Sometimes I still need to recover a little bit from that.
I'm here for that, man. I'm here for that. The point standings are here for that.
Okay.
Recover, man.
Let's go to the Cup Series, right?
Yes. A 500-miler.
A 500-miler at Atlanta.
Very different one.
At the new Atlanta. And the first thing I want to tell you some statistics. Since Talladega 2021, there were 10 winners, consecutive winners, below the age of 30. 5 guys. The half of those races were Kyle Larson. We had William Byron. I need to check my notes, who was also in that. Chase Briscoe, of course, and stuff like this. But people like this. But in the end, this could have been the 11th race of a youngster winning, and we had no Kyle Busch, no Kevin Harvick, no Denny Hamlin, nobody like that. No Joey Logano, no Brad Keselowski, whatever you want. Okay, Joey Logano is 31, but we made the red line is 30. People are younger than 30, and yes, 10 consecutive races without a veteran winning a race.
I think there's a generation change.
Okay, of course. I said Kyle Larson, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, that was the one who started it in Talladega, Chase Briscoe, and Austin Cindric, of course, in the Daytona 500. You see, my brain turned off and on
Yeah,
again. I
man.
rebooted my brain, and then I don't need notes. Have you
You know
tried to
it.
turn it on and off and on again?
Can you reboot, please?
Yeah.
Well, it's impressive. I think it's a generational change. The more experienced guys, they are slowly going towards retiring. But it's interesting because David Smith, a NASCAR statistician, I think the first one, who founded Motorsport Analytics a few years ago, calculated or found out that the peak performance for an average NASCAR driver uh, since the beginning of the Cup Series uh, is around 39 years of age.
Yep.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, I think the curve is moving left now towards a younger age.
Yes,
Very
and
much.
we have both seen the Bubba Wallace documentary on Netflix, right?
Yes, I'm still watching.
Ah,
Don't
okay.
spoil it, please.
Okay, but I need to. Sorry for that, but
Yeah, no, no, do.
Danny Hamlin said one thing there. He said the young guys, they beating us by speed and by
Yes.
their conditions, they in their shape, their physical shape. But
Mm-hmm.
we old guys, we beat them with race intelligence, doing the right decisions and stuff like that. That's what he said. That's the main difference between a young driver and a young non-veteran driver. But spoiler alert there, Danny Hamlin said after this race at Atlanta, we took the wrong decisions all the way. And that's why we are not competing at the front at the moment. So he has to rethink his strategies, his decision making, and go back to the clever ones. But I think he knows because he said it. So, in the documentary, he said, I win because I do the good and clever decisions. And now he said, no, we don't do the right decisions. So he knows where the problems are.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. It's a double-sided coin.
Yeah. We had 37 cars at track on track with the 36 charters, of course, and the NY racing team with Greg Biffle again back.
Woo!
The 37th car. We had no qualifying because the free practice was washed out on Friday due to rain. So NASCAR decided to give the people practice time instead of a qualifying on Saturday. So we had the pandemic mathematic formula to have the starting lineup, and it was Chase Briscoe starting from pole position. In stage one, John, we had the first guy crashing a colic car. It was Noah Gregson.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Really unfortunate for him, and the car just napped under him, and he couldn't catch it. Probably a little bit of experience, more experience for him. It will help, and I'm sure Noah Gregson has all the talent to deliver sooner or later. We also had a pretty interesting, you know, mm, super speedway strategies going on. Chastain blew a tire on lap 95 for another caution, and I think it was the most. What can I say? The crash that most stayed with me in my mind was Dillon getting sideways and slamming the wall, thanks to a little help by Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
And Kyle Busch, Ty Dillon, and Chase Briscoe all were collected in the same caution.
And there are two very important things. First of all,
Yes.
when we talk about balloon tires, it's the
Mhm.
right rear tire. That is very
Yeah.
important in that race. All of the cars were Chevrolets. Very important.
I didn't notice that, but
Yeah.
it's very important then. Yes,
And the
absolutely.
second one, when you talk about Chase Briscoe being collected and other people being involved in those crashes,
I continued.
remember them because in the final results you will find them back. Because
Yep.
and when you have the right angle and the right kind of crash, those next gen cars really sustain a lot of crashes. We saw the duct tape coming back, the traditional stuff. You had the pieces over the cars, over the hoods and stuff like this. So even the new bodies that are not that new because Xfinity Series has those composite bodies since years. for years now, and it's not completely new stuff. But what we saw is that next gen car can be very competitive, even when it hit the wall, a competitor, and has some scratches.
Yeah, to me, it's one of the biggest improvements in the next gen car. The body can suffer, can sustain some beating, and still be competitive. It's a little bit different when you hurt suspensions, but it always was like that. But the body can take some damage, and that's good.
Yeah.
Stage one results, man. William Byron, Danny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Eric Jones, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell. And off we go with stage two, with Byron and all the leaders in pit lane. Some stayed out because they took the pit lane earlier before the end of the stage. So plenty of strategy there to gain some track position.
Have you heard that there was a rule change during that weekend with
No, what happened?
with the tire carrier? The rear tire carrier had to go around the rear of the car. But now they said, no, you can go wherever you want. And I saw Joe Gibbs Racing doing some stuff in practice and trying to go on the front to the car, then to the back.
So they changed it.
Yes,
You think it's a safety issue?
I don't really know. I just saw that the rule was changed without any comment why. And to be honest, it was a few hours before the race, so I had no chance to do some research on that. But what we saw, then I took a look at the pits and the services there, but I haven't noticed so many changes, to be honest.
Well, we'll find out for you guys during the week.
Yeah.
We had another tire blowing up.
Who?
This time Tyler Reddick at the front of the field. Boom, collecting.
Chevrolet.
Yes.
And this is the time where Alan Gustafson sat on the radio of Chase Elliott. Man, I think they are running a way more aggressive camber.
Haha.
Before you blame Goodyear, I mean, it's a bad year so far for Goodyear, but before you blame them, you always have to keep in mind they give you a air pressure. They give you an air pressure and they give you some data. Do not be too aggressive. Those are the marks we say it's okay. And what are the teams doing since years? Okay, we can do that, but let's do that. Let's do it way more aggressive. And then they ask themselves, why are we having tire issues? In the end, it's interesting to see. In the next gen car, they don't know where the limit really is. So in the Gen 6, they got the data from Goodyear, and they knew that they can go a little bit lower on the pressure, a little bit more on the camber and stuff like that. And they knew where the wet line was. That's why we never saw so many tire problems. With the new next gen car, they don't know where the line is, the red line, where it's too aggressive. So they have to learn that, and that's not on Goodyear's side, always. I don't know if, of course, Goodyear is now going into research, take a look at the tires, to take a look if they did a mistake. But also the team have to question themselves, and when you see who it was Ricky Stenhouse later, Tyler Reddick, all those guys that are strong on a super speedway, that they know that they have a chance to go into the playoffs. So they're
pushing the boundary.
Yeah, in that race, these are the guys they know they have few chances of going into the playoffs, that crashed there with a flat right rear tire, and this is not the tire with the biggest load.
Yep, exactly. And they are doing something with the setup to push the boundaries.
Yeah,
absolutely. The Ricky Stenhouse tire gave up with 10 to go in stage 2. And with 2 to go in stage 2, Blaney took the lead from Larson. Larson already had, if I remember well, a patched up car at the front with a big patch of tape. So he was slowing down, and Emlyn tapped him on the rear bumper off turn 4. Larson, off he goes. Caution is out. Stage 2 result: Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Eric Almirola, Brad Keselowski, Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex Jr., Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Ross Chastain. Well, up to now, interesting. 72 to go, a caution for the breeze, and then off we go with stage in stage three. I think at some point they settled to a single file outside again, typical of super speedway, waiting to make a move, right?
Yes, totally. I was expecting that a little bit more in stage two because normally at Daytona and Talladega we have the stuff that they are doing the single file things normally in stage two. But in the end, yeah. But the good thing was at Atlanta, we saw that it was easy to break out from single file into a double file
Yeah.
style again. You don't need so many people doing the same stuff you wanted to do. You know, you don't need five other guys. It was okay when you go with three, and you can. It worked for several laps, and then you had more time to prepare for a double file racing style again. I think it was my opinion, my
Yeah, absolutely.
observation. Yeah.
I agree. Just a second, time out, man. Stay there. I totally agree with you, man. They were all behind the leader strategizing at some point. We tend to go. William Byron looked inside Bubba Wallace into turn one. Wallace tried to side draft him to defend, but Byron made it past Wallace to make it a record lead change. Well, of course, it's Atlanta. It's now a super speedway, and with five to go, the top eight cars were all running single five. Byron leading Bubba Wallace.
Yes.
At some point, but at some point, Wallace tried. Let's say he tried to make a different line. He found himself on the outside, slowly losing speed, and ended up being pushed by Ryan Blaney and Chase Briscoe behind him, and basically they went all in the wall. Wallace continued, and it was William Byron who kept everybody at bay and won at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the third different André car to win a race this year.
Yeah, speaking about powerhouses, we said the level is equal, anyone can win. We see some surprises, but in the end, Hendrick Motorsports is very dominating at the moment, but always with a different driver. I have to need to go back to those
Yes,
laps.
sure.
We had single file, and then we had, like you said, we had Byron, Bubba Wallace, and Blaney. Now, some gossip, by the way. William Byron is dating Ryan Blaney's younger sister since 2 years now. And Ryan Blaney found out from a friend and not from William Byron or his sister. So this is very interesting. And then we had William Byron leading Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney. So two very good buddies.
Is this playing a role sometimes at some point?
Yes. And then we had the mistake that Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace, in my opinion, did. They never took the chance to work together and do something. They waited and waited and waited, and they waited too long. They waited too long to go out and try something, and that's why William Byron had zero problems keeping them at bay, because they were not trying too hard, and they were, then going into the wall, and that's because they really misjudged the situation, in my opinion. Like Denny Hamlin said, you have to do the right decisions, and I think Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney didn't do the right decision. They had to attack a little bit earlier. Of course, you don't want to be leading a super speedway race in the last lap. Except you're William Byron, and nobody wants to attack you, and it's okay.
Yeah. And at some point, Byron was really a sitting duck because he had some space behind himself, and that meant a possible attack.
Yeah.
Nobody went for it.
Then we had Ross Chastain ending up in second ahead of Kurt Busch, Daniel Suarez. Trackhouse, again, amazing. I think they have combined 5 top 5s now in four races.
Fourth consecutive fourth consecutive top 5.
4 in 5, not 5 in 4.
Yeah.
Yes. This is amazing for organization. Justin Marks bought Chip Ganassi. Ganassi was always, of course, he wanted to win, but NASCAR was not his, passionate baby. He was doing it very good with Kyle Larson. We saw that, but IndyCar, IMSA racing, and stuff like this. This is where Ganassi had his focus. Now with Justin Marks, you have a guy, 100% NASCAR guy.
Yeah.
And now you have Daniel Suarez, who has something to prove in the NASCAR Cup Series. And you have Ross Chastain taking a late chance to become a really good driver in the Cup Series. Two hungry guys, hungry team owner. A guy helping with some marketing money and stuff like this with Pitbull, the rapper, pop star. And this Trackhouse guys, they are building a momentum. And they may really get into this top team powerhouse roster if they keep that momentum.
I really hope so for them. And 1 week after earning their first ever double top 10, they got a double top 5. It's great. And both Chastain and Suarez are great guys.
Yeah.
So definitely, I want to see a watermelon smashed this year.
Yes. The Florida watermelons. Okay, Daniel Suarez fourth. We had that. Corey LaJoie, also good race. He was in the grass once, but he ended up fifth out of Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher, Martin Truex Jr., Joe Logano, and Alex Bowman. Justin Haley in 11th, also a good race. Brad Keselowski in 12th. Bubba Wallace in the end 13th. Eric Jones, Chase Briscoe, Josh Bilicki 16th. Ryan Blaney only 17th. We had BJ McLeod having a top 20 result. Greg Biffle in the top 20. Kevin Harvick only 21st. Eric Almirola 22nd. And this is something. You see Eric Almirola at the moment, the top driver of Stewart Haas Racing. 5th at Daytona, 6th at Fontana, 6th at Las Vegas, 12th at Phoenix. Now a bad race. But this guy is holding the Stewart Haas flag, but under the radar because Chase Briscoe won a race.
Yeah, and Chase Briscoe is also third in points now. Chase Elliott is leading. Joe Logano second, 7 points behind Elliott. Then Chase Briscoe, William Byron, Kurt Busch, Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola, Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman, Ross Chastain in 10th position. Kyle Larson is down to 12th position. On the bubble at the moment, it would be Brad Keselowski in 16th, but Austin Cindric has a win and is in 17th place, so he has a place in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There were a lot of lead changes, a lot of cautions.
46 among 20 different drivers. 46 lead changes among 20 different drivers.
But there were also 27 different cars involved in crashes.
And
so
a very important thing, Goodyear, we had 3 or 4 tire issues. That also means that 34 or 35 cars had no tire issues.
Yeah, exactly. And less than 10 cars made it to the end without being involved in a crash.
Yeah.
So this is a super speedway race. And personally, yes, it's different from Daytona and Talladega, but this will bring the super speedway races up to 6 during a season. And I was fine with 4, honestly.
Okay. Now I have a question. We are at 46 minutes in that show, and now I can talk about, are we going to do that on other 1.5 mile tracks? Is Texas already calling NASCAR? We want that too. In my opinion, let's make it quick. It's a 9 of 10. I like the race. I loved it. 9 of 10. Boom. Crazy race. But it only stays a 9 of 10 if it's only Atlanta, in my opinion. This is how you create unique selling points. So NASCAR is really, in my opinion, doing a great job. The LA Clash. How many criticism was there? People were, it's too short. It's a bad idea. What do we want there? In the end, it was amazing. Now they said, we don't need a 1.5 miles oval as a super speedway. Man, it was amazing racing.
Yeah.
Yes, come on. Destroy Fontana and make it a combination of Bristol and Martinsville. There was the plan to build a short track. Do it, please, do it. Do something to get more
Different.
variety into the Cup Series calendar. The road courses at the moment are okay. We have enough. Don't do too much. But I think now we have a good number. So at the moment,
Mhm.
it feels like every race has something special.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key to success. Make it special. Don't overdo it, please. Don't do it everywhere.
At,
Don't do this
yeah,
everywhere.
Atlanta cannot be the new cookie cutter.
Yes, exactly. Stop there.
Yeah.
Do it once, find something else. Okay, man.
The next race, next Sunday, Circuit of the Americas, the road course race, the first one. I said every race is something different. Last year we had
Yeah.
that rain chaos with people not seeing 5 meters of the track, red flag. So I think we don't really know how NASCAR works at COTA. And now with the new car that is symmetrical, that is more like a GT car, road course racing is going to be very interesting. What we both fear, I know your opinion there, so I can speak for you. A sequential
Yes, man.
gearbox, it makes it easier, less mistakes, maybe less action, but we have to see how people are handling it. I say, remember Phoenix with Denny Hamlin, muscle memory and shifting mistakes with the sequential gearbox. Yeah, that's possible, and stuff like this. So, but what I expect, and I took a look at the weather. It's going to be sunny at the moment.
Yes.
We're going to see what COTA really looks like in a NASCAR race. So I have no expectations. I don't know what to say.
All three series, major series, on track series, Xfinity, and Cup series. And again, it's the first road course of the season. We'll see. We'll see. Definitely watching it.
Yeah. 9:30 in the evening in Germany, by the way, start of the broadcasting of the Cup Series race, and also the other races are very good with the times. I think we have both races again on Saturday, 18, so 6 in the evening for the Truck Series and 9:30 for the Xfinity Series. So for European fans, perfect timings with the starting time. So prime time action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man.
We have to go through
Yes.
2 more races, and I think when we
Yes.
go to the 12 hours of Sebring, we could add another 12 hours. But I want to keep it
Yes.
short. First of all, I was going to Munich. It's 650 kilometers from my home to Munich to the studio. I wanted to be there, but my 10 hours of Bochum to Munich were with a red flag on the A3 highway because the truck was burning. So I stood there about 2 hours and stuff like this. So I missed the first laps. I missed the first hours. I was in the studio in time for my stint, and so some stuff I didn't saw. I haven't saw it with my eyes. What? But let's do it like this because we need to be a
Mhm.
little bit quicker. Let's go through the classes, and we start with the race winners. In the DPI class, we had the Ganassi O2 Cadillac in first place with Earl Bamber, Neil Jarney, and Alex Lynn, winning ahead of the JDC Miller Cadillac of Lloyd Duval, Tristan Vautier, and Richard Westbrook. Then we had the Whelen Engineering Cadillac of Action Express Racing with Mike Conway, Pipo Derani, and Tristan Nunez. Wayne Taylor Racing in fourth with Philippe Albuquerque, Will Stevens, and Ricky Taylor. Fifth, the Tom Blomqvist, Oliver Jarvis, Stoffel Van Dorn, Meyer Schenk, Racing Acura. And sixth, the Kamui Kobayashi, Jose Maria Lopez, Mike Rockenfeller, Ali Cadillac from Action Express Racing, ahead of the second 01 Ganassi car that had troubles in the early stages of the race. They were out of the contention very early. So, but what we saw in the DPI was that the Whelen Engineering car was leading a lot of laps in the opening stages, and we talk about hours there. Then mistakes happened on track or in the pit lane, and they were shuffled back a little bit. So Wayne Taylor Racing took over the lead, and they were looking very, very strong until we had a problem for Will Stevens. There was a at the exit of the pit lane. There was a gate. And you have to go through there to activate the RFID chip in the tires. And Will Stevens took the other way around, the wrong gate.
No.
So RFID not activated, penalty. They went back 1 minute and 30 seconds. They were not lapped, but they were out of the race. there were a lot of cautions during the mid of the race. I think 7 or 8, but in the end we had green flag, green flag, green flag, like at the beginning. So no chance to get back to the front. We had a nice battle between JDC Miller and the Cadillac O2 of Ganassi, and Earl Bamber was on fire. But, and now a big but, they were overtaking the JDC Miller car and went back after a little crash. And then he overtook him again, and a penalty. He went back second. And then Earl Bamber, yeah, he was amazing.
Did it again, man.
Yeah, he did it again. And in the end, yes, Loic Duval, Tristan Vautier, Richard Westbrook, they did all what they did all they could to somehow overcome that margin. It was between 2 seconds and 8 seconds all the time. In the end, Earl Bamber, Neil Jani, and Alex Lynn crossed the finish line 6.4 seconds ahead of the DPI of JDC Miller. Something to add from your side? I really rushed through that.
Yeah, no, Earl Bamber was impressive.
Yeah.
Overcoming those problems, and not bad for Neil Jani as a replacement driver to win the 12 hours of Sebring.
And
not bad.
Even Stoffel van Dorn to have that guy in the grid and stuff like this, it was amazing. But we had the IndyCar clash, that's why we never saw the IndyCar guys on the grid. That's why we had so many replacement drivers. And goodbye, Kevin Magnussen to Formula One. By the way, great debut with the Haas car, earning points. So, but we don't talk about Formula One here. Let's go to the LMP2. PR1 Matthias Motorsports. It looked like a double win for a long time, but the second car went down to fourth. But in the end, PR1 Matthias and the Motorsports won with Scott Hafeker, Mikkel Jensen from Denmark, and Ben Keating, who again pulled double duties driving the WEC, the World Endurance Championship race on Friday, and also the 12 hours of Sebring. But we had, I think, 20 drivers doing that. Also Jose Maria Lopez, Mike Rockenfeller, Kamui Kobayashi, and stuff, people like that. So in the LMP2 we had that, but I need to check something. Where's that car? Yes, the Dragon Speed car did not finish. But
what happened to them?
Now, this is the story. Have you seen Sebastian Montoya, the 16-year-old son of Juan Pablo Montoya? He was down 1 minute and 30 seconds, and he overcame that margin in 1 hour. He was on track, on fire. Then he handed over the car to his old man, and 2 laps later the car was out of the race, crashed. No, there was no jet dryer involved, and it was not Juan Pablo Montoya's fault. No jet dryer, no explosion. But Sebastian Montoya really, really put a big, big plus on his CV.
Kid has talent. Plenty of it.
Plenty of talent, yes.
We will have to keep an eye on them, on him. But man, this was the season opener, right, for the LMP2 category, because they did
the official one. Yes.
Point.
Yes.
Okay. Understood. Same for LMP3?
Yes, LMP3, I think so, yes, and it was also a good race there. Sean Creech Motorsport won with and Joao Barbosa, one of the best endurance driver we had. Malte Jakobsen and Lance Wilsey, ahead of the JR3 racing car of Ari Bullock, Dakota Dickerson, and Garrett Grist. We saw something the English and British guys said on the IMSA radio, because I was in traffic jam. Of course, when I was stuck on the highway to go there, I had no internet connection at that point, so I was not able to use our Motorvision TV app to watch the race, or neither to listen to the IMSA radio. But when I got the Wi-Fi connection back, I listened in the car to the IMSA radio, and they were saying it was a endurance old school race with reliability of the cars in place, and I didn't understand why. DPI at the end of the circle, life circle, they know how to set up the cars for 12 hours. LMP3, LMP2 as well, GT3, of course. But it was a classic race of surviving.
Well, it's also true that Sebring is a pretty peculiar track with all the bumps.
Respect the bumps.
Yeah, and as you saw in DPI, Cadillac had a big advantage, for example, because of the chassis, because apparently the Dallara chassis is just better on the bumps. They can use a higher ride height, bigger ride height. That makes for just a better car overall, and they dominated as always in the last few years. So maybe it was an endurance race because of the track.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was very good, in my opinion. It was a very nice race. Let's go to GTD Pro Corvette with this, GTE,
A little bit
GT3
different.
car. I think they changed the BOP, the balance of performance, 5 minutes before qualifying, with the Corvette given more horsepowers. I think we have a problem.
Yes.
If the Corvette wins, people will complain, this is not a GT3 car. If the Corvette is not winning up front, they will say, oh, you penalized the car because it's not the GT3 car. So you cannot make any right decision with that car because it's not a GT3 car. Anyway,
Exactly.
I like the decision to give them the opportunity to take part, because Corvette is a very, very loyal customer.
But exactly, and it's the problem with every multi-brand endurance racing. At some point, someone will blame the BOP.
Yeah, but this is the problem, that this is not a GT3 car. This is the problem. It's a GTE car with ABS
adapted to
and some more aero package stuff. But at the end, Nicky Katzberg, Antonio Garcia, and Jordan Taylor, aka Rodney Sandstorm, won the race. Take a look for Rodney Sandstorm. Ahead of the TR3 Lamborghini by Mirko Bortolotti, Andrea Caldarelli, and Marco Mappelli. The Italian
Very good
guys.
effort by the Italians.
Yes. Ahead of the WeatherTech Mercedes by Maro Engel, Jules Gounod, Cooper McNeil, and the BMW by Philip Eng, Marco Wittmann, and Nick Yeloli. The BMW looked strong for plenty of time, but then they had some issues during the pit stops. They needed to add some oil, and the car was not working that good anymore. Also, the Porsches were not there. Pfaff Motorsports in fifth with Matt Campbell, Mathieu Jaminet, and Felipe Nasr. But we had some nice racing between the BMW and the Chevrolet, the Mercedes of WeatherTech Racing, the Lamborghini of TR3 Racing. It never felt like the old GTLM category changed to GT3, because with all the pro drivers on the same level, we see great racing.
Exactly. And they are just and you can really see what difference really pro drivers can make.
By the way, I'm missing a lot of points of that race, but we cannot talk about that now another 30 minutes. That's why we're rushing a little bit through that. Let's go to GTD with the pro.
Speaking of Italians, man.
Yeah.
GTD.
Yeah, with the Pro AM combinations. Cittella Racing with the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo won the race with Antonio Fuoco, Roberto Lacorte, and Giorgio Serna-Giotto or Giotto?
Serna-Giotto.
Because there's no H. If there's an H after the G, it's Giotto, right?
Exactly. And there's a driver named Luca Giotto, by the way. So you clearly see the two different pronunciations.
I've learned something, see?
Yes. Good job, man.
Yeah, they won ahead of Gilbert Kurthoff Motorsports in the Mercedes. We had Daniel Juncadea, Stephen McAleer, and Mike Skeen. Then we had another Ferrari of Alf Corse with Luis Perez-Compon, Simon Mann, and Tony Villander. Turner Motorsports in fourth with the BMW of Bill Oberlin, Michael Dinon, and Rob Foley. They had the same issues with the car at the end. They were at front. They were hit by a Ferrari by Antonio Fuoco. There were a lot of penalties. People moving down the order, shuffling down the order, getting back to the front. People doing mistakes in the pits. People getting penalties during the race. When we go through that, I promise you, we talk at least 1 hour about several incidents and stuff like this. But let's keep it short.
I just remember, man, the Settler Ferrari somewhere in the gravel at some point, and they won the race.
Yes, and this is what I wanted to say. It's not a single car without problems, not a single car without mistakes. We had a lot of penalties. We had a lot of issues. We had a lot of cautions during the race in the middle that helped people come back into the lead lap and being back in the contention of winning the race. that were long 12 hours, but the action, it felt like sprint racing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I took glimpses at it during the NASCAR races, and it was just action everywhere. Action, 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 action. I bet your throat was sore after 8 hours of commentary about of this.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Um, in my opinion, everything was really, really, exciting. I think the season will be very good in the IMSA category, the last one of the DPI. So yes, I'm really looking forward to the next races. The team's championship. I don't go into the drivers' championship. I'm just interested in the cars. At the moment, JDC Miller is leading ahead of Wayne Taylor Racing in the DPI. Maya Schenk third, Cadillac O2 with Ganassi fourth. Action Express Wheeling Engineering car in fifth, ahead of the Alley Cadillac of Action Express in sixth, and yeah, at the moment, last the second Ganassi Cadillac with the 01. In the LMP2, we have Pierre Matthias Motorsports ahead of the racing team Nederland. Then we have in the LMP3 Sean Creech Motorsports ahead of JR3 Motorsports. And in the GTD Pro, we have Pfaff still leading ahead of Corvette and Risi Competizione. They were also in the race, had some problems. TR3 Racing in fourth, Vasser Sullivan with the Lexus. Also in problems, I said we can go through all the cars and we find something. And in the GTD category, we have Gilbert Kotov Motorsports ahead of AF Corsa, Wright Motorsports, Magnus Racing, and Sattler Racing. Also, there the Aston Martins had problems. Windward Racing was at front at some point in the Mercedes. They were shuffled back. So, yeah, it was plenty of stuff going on, man.
An explosion of action.
Explosion.
It was.
I do it. The explosion at the Texas Motor Speedway. Let's go to IndyCar racing.
Perfect segue, man. Thank you. But IndyCar. Well, with qualifying in excess of 220 miles per hour, so more than 354 kilometers per hour average lap, IndyCar racing on ovals is a special, dangerous beast. And honestly, I was really concerned before the race because last year Texas proved to be single file stuff. This year, well, a combination of factors probably produced one of the best races I have seen in recent years on an oval that's not Indianapolis for IndyCar, right?
Yes, they found some space between the lower line and then the PJ1 to go too wide.
Yeah, basically IndyCar gave them a little bit more downforce in the configuration of the car, and also they gave a 30-minute practice session, an additional one, where they could use a total of 10 sets of Firestone tires. Helio Castronevers, Pato Ward, Ed Carpenter, Will Power, Graham Rails, Felix Rosenquist, and Takuma Sato all spent time to put rubber on the PJ1 and try to erase a little bit the effect. Well, they found a space, literally 2 cars side by side,
Yeah.
no more,
Yeah.
because there was no more space. Once you went a little bit too far on the right, poof, you're in the wall. But it made for a, I don't know. I think I've eaten all my fingers this time. It was crazy, man.
For me, those races at the 1.5 mile ovals are like I have a split personality. On the one hand, I'm so excited. I'm really digging it. I like it. On the other side, I'm scared as hell.
Yeah. It's scary, man. Scary.
When for example, I saw the crash, I couldn't see the whole race because we were going into the NASCAR broadcast, but there's one inside. Yes, I had the chance to watch it on my laptop because Sky is broadcasting it in Germany, and I have Sky Go on my laptop, and we were watching it until 1 minute before the NASCAR broadcast started, and we had to commentate the race of the NASCAR Cup Series. So before we started the broadcast, we were bounded to my laptop. to watch
Yes.
the IndyCar race, and we saw, for example, the crash of Kyle Kirkwood, and we were, oh man, this is a heavy hit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the race developed pretty early into a very interesting matter because Pat Howard immediately made clear there was space on the outside. So you saw plenty of slingshot moves. Slingshot. Let's say let's explain it. Driver uh, gets some space from the one ahead of him, and then uses the draft to quickly catapult himself on the outside, and they do one or two corners side by side and 350 kilometers per hour until one of the two prevails.
Very important.
You really
Yeah, very important there. We saw the same stuff at the Atlanta Motorspeedway with the NASCAR races. And if you want to
yes.
have the perfect explanation what a slingshot is, take a look at Talladega Nights, the Ricky Bobby movie. You will slingshot engaged. You have it there. And even at Atlanta, they were joking it's not Talladega Nights, it's Atlanta Afternoons. So slingshot was all over the place that weekend, also in NASCAR, but also in IndyCar. Sorry for that, but I needed to put that in.
Oh yeah, perfect, perfect. I go rewatch it
Yeah.
for I think 50th time. But the race, I felt really sorry at the beginning for Alexander Rossi. He jumped the first start, and then he got a penalty for that, and then the car broke down, and he can really get any luck this year for now. We had also pit stop issues for Howard on lap 100. He hit the tire carrier, the front left tire carrier. The guy was okay and even went on to complete the race. Also, Rosenquist had issues in the pits, and they were really important because they meant they lost a lot of track position. Yes, the Kirkwood crash was wow. He was doing very well. He went into the wall, and it was really, really scary. At some point, around lap 130, we had a Penske 1-2-3 at the
Mhm.
front, and McLaughlin. Man, how strong was Scott McLaughlin again?
Yeah, this guy really adapted to IndyCar racing from supercars in Australia. McLaughlin is really, really good. And then I think we had the next crash that was scary. I saw that one
Yes,
too with Devlin DeFrancesco, Helio Castroneves, and Graham Rahal.
yes. Basically, Di Francesco tried to go three wide. Not a good move. He went below the apron, and just the car snapped, and boom,
Yeah.
kaboom! It took out Castroneves and Graham Rahal as well. Remember, next time you go 350 kilometers per hour at Texas Motor Speedway, don't go three wide. Don't try this at home.
Yeah.
After that, Newgarden made some very, very interesting moves, trying to overtake McLaughlin. VK was really fantastic on the outside at some point. Man, the Dutch guy, another strong driver in IndyCar, and it feels really special to watch him drive. Rinus VK, congratulations, man.
And we are European, so we are able to pronounce his name. Rinus van Kalmthout. This is his real name.
Really?
Yes.
Man, I'm not able. I'm European, but I can't do that.
Rinus van Kalmthout. He's a Dutch guy, so yeah. You know, I speak a
Okay.
little bit of Dutch, so
Yeah, I know. And you even guided me to the delicatessen of the
yeah.
place at Van Ray. Really good stuff to eat. Thank you, man.
Okay, let's go. We need
Yeah.
to rush because I take a look at the time and boom, 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 boom. We have the
Yes,
longest
yes, yes.
episode now.
Absolutely. I want to go there. Some teams tried to save fuel to make it in one stop the last part of the race. VK was making moves, but man, the most spectacular move of the race for me was made by Will Power from third to first in one corner at turn one.
Yeah.
I held my breath there. He made it. After that, green flag pit stops. Great battle for fourth place between Newgarden and Ericsson. We had Elot at the top as a rookie with a very late pit stop. But when the pit stop cycle completed, it was McLaughlin with Joseph Newgarden behind him. At some point, it seemed that Newgarden couldn't match McLaughlin, but miracle happened. fantastic drag race to the checkered flag on the outside. Slingshot move, by definition. Magnificent stuff. Joseph Newgarden brought it home. Did you see the finish move?
No, not yet. Not yet. I have to rewatch it.
Ouch! Sorry, man.
No problem. In the end, we had a Penske Ganassi top 7 in the end.
Yes.
Just Ganassi and Penske drivers. And then I will jump to 6th place, because when I say that, you have to see Jimmy Johnson. Man, on an oval, he's back.
Yes, and if you had a question, can he win the Indy 500? Now you have the answer. And it's yes. Big yes. Right?
Yes, he's the oval guy. You see it. NASCAR is an oval racing sport, and Jimmy Johnson nailed it.
Yes.
For
Very.
when you see his performance on the road courses and street courses, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jimmy is such a finesse driver. Incredible. His first oval race in IndyCar delivered. At some point, he was 5th.
Yeah.
So if it started, I bet if he started a little bit forward, he started 18th, I think. If he started a little bit more towards the front, he could even do better. Very quickly, your top 10: Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, Marcus Ericsson, Will Power, Scott Dixon, Jimmy Johnson, Alex Palou, Simon Pagenaud, Santino Ferrucci, very good, and Renus VK. Sorry, I'm not trying to pronounce it in Dutch.
Very important.
Yep.
Why we had
Yes.
Ferrucci in the car. Jack Harvey had a crash in the final practice, and he was not cleared to race, and that's why Santino Ferrucci took over the car. Very important, yeah.
And he did pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty well. At the same, well, if I have to take a general point out of this, attendance at Texas Motor Speedway was very low. I think Racers Motorsport, Racer.com,
European NASCAR team Racers Motorsports. That was
sorry. Racer.com reported about 5,000 people in the grandstands. I bet next year, if Texas is back, they are much more.
Yeah.
Many more.
Sorry for the technical issues. We will be back any second. Please hold the line.
What were we talking about?
You were with the attendance when the race will be back.
Yes, when the race will be back, I bet there will be a bigger crowd, because this race really deserves it.
Okay, I really put, I think, this technical problem. I let this a little bit in here, just a little bit, because it's live. It's internet recording live, not yet, but maybe in the future.
We do it.
It happens. And do you close the IndyCar race so we go to the point standings after 2 races?
Yes. The point standings. Just let me get them.
I have them. No problem. Scott,
yes, go.
Scott McLaughlin, first at St. Petersburg, second at Texas. 97 points. He's leading by a big margin out of Will Power, who has 69 points. So Scott McLaughlin, a title contender? Yes, he is. Alex Palou, the reigning champion, in third, ahead of Joseph Newgarden, Marcus Ericsson, Scott Dixon, Colton Herta, Renus VK, Simon Pagenaud, and Romain Grosjean, who's 10th, ahead of Jimmy Johnson, who's leading. And now, listen carefully, Graham Rahal, Pato O'Ward, Takuma Sato. So one good result, and it catapults you into good spheres here in IndyCar racing. The next race will be, where is it? The calendar, Long Beach. Yes, perfect, because we forgot the next race of IMSA, but it's easy. IMSA and IndyCar are sharing the track at Long Beach, so we have the road course action at Long Beach in the streets of California. Really digging that race. We have a super sprint race in the IMSA category with 1 hour and 40 minutes. Normal sprint races are 2 hours of 40 minutes. Then we have the sprint endurance race at Watkins Glen with 6 hours. Then we have the middle endurance races with the Petit Le Mans and the Sebring race with 12 hours, and the big endurance race with Daytona. Now, come back and tell me that I said something wrong with super sprint endurance, average endurance, and big endurance. Say something about that.
Man.
And easy, we have a normal Grand Prix of Long Beach in the IndyCar Series next. And the races will be in April 9-10th.
Well, looks like we are going to relax a little bit next week with only 3 races to talk about.
No, just 3 races. I think that's it, right?
Yes, we didn't talk about NASCAR at Le Mans, but I think everybody knows.
NASCAR at Le Mans very quickly, because it fits to endurance racing. Let's make it short.
Yes,
Garage 56 for alternative cars. Hendrick Motorsports will enter a next-gen car at Le Mans in 2023 with a hybrid system, and something people did not think about yet: real headlights and backlights. They have to have the lightning stuff you have in the car to signal something, because in endurance racing, without the signal you cannot overtake. So this car is going to be prepped with a lot of stuff normally stock cars do not have in NASCAR racing, and I think this is a foreshow of what we will see in the Cup Series very soon. If this hybrid system is working, we will see it in the Cup Series. This is my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, they will definitely use it as a proving ground for the future technology, and that's the point of Garage 56. Absolutely, and it's also great to see NASCAR back at Le Mans after almost 50 years. It was 1976.
Yeah, the Ford Torino and the Dodge Challenger, right?
Yes, beautiful cars, and they stole the show because they were very peculiar to watch, and this one will be as well. Who's gonna drive it? We don't know, because unless NASCAR puts a hole in the calendar to allow for drivers to go to Le Mans, someone else will need to take the wheel. I bet, as Rick Hendrick said, they will put Jeff Gordon on a diet to make it into the car.
And then take a look at the Hendrick at the LA car that is operated by Hendrick in the IMSA race: Mike Rockenfeller, Kamui Kobayashi, Jimmy Johnson.
Yes.
Jose Maria Lopez, whoever.
Yes.
And they target to compete with the Pro AM GT cars.
I'm gonna definitely look forward to this. I can't wait, man. And it's gonna be. Let's see. Let's hope that we with the European NASCAR series we have a chance to be associated with this.
Yeah,
I would really love it to be there.
Steve Phelps already did it. He mentioned at least that we have a European official NASCAR series. So yay!
I'm gonna backpack under. I'm gonna stay in my boss's shadow until we reach Le Mans. Okay, man.
That's it.
Yes, I think that's it. It was a very busy weekend.
It was, and with that said, goodbye. Follow us on socials.
Yes. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next week, man.